going really well. We try not to treat it like any other week. You know, just game plan. We got to go out there and make plays.
Darius, a passing game the last 2 weeks. I know a lot had to do with the opponents and the situations, but you guys haven't had any real big plays. Kind of chomping at the bit a little bit.
I mean, you know, we got to go out and execute every week. You know, it's on the offense as a whole. You know, if we're gonna go out there and make plays, we got to execute on all terms, from quarterback to receivers, everything. If stuff's not clicking that game, then it's not gonna work out for us.
Darius, how big is it to get off to a better start than you did the last road game against Arkansas?
That's huge. You know, we're away in a big stadium, loud stadium. We get off to a fast start, I feel like then we're going to be up the whole game. Just tempo.
Questions?
Can you talk about what you've seen from Robert Lester, maybe going up against him in practice, and how he's improved since last year?
Robert's improved a lot. He was my roommate last year. You know, he's came a long way. This year he's real physical, a lot more physical, and he's just out there making a lot of plays.
A lot's been made about the identity of this football team, and I know the question's been lobbed to you guys like 15,000 times. What are you most proud of when you look around at your teammates and in the mirror?
I say just guys staying humble. You know, we're 5-0 and everything, and guys, we try to treat things like we're 0-0 still. You know, every game we go into it like we're down. We just try to be a great team, you know. Guys are real humble this year.
Coach made a reference to Greg being dinged up, is what he said in the last game. Did you see that? Did you notice that? You mentioned like late in the game that he may have missed a play. Did you?
Not at all. Greg's the type of guy that if he's hurting, he's not going to try to show it. You know, he took a few shots that game, but nothing really major.
What stands out from last year's game against South Carolina?
You know, the defense. You know, I feel like they're a real run-first team. You know, on defense, they're going to try to stop our run, put a lot of guys in the box, and we got to throw the ball out this game and get it over their heads.
I think the fact that you were able to run last year might be, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, they're going to come out just like every team and try to stop the run. But we got to establish our identity out there in the passing game.
Anything else?
Yeah. What do you think the biggest challenge is going to be for your offense coming up?
I don't see any challenges. You know, I mean, just like I said, they're gonna try to stop the run. So passing game has to open up.
You know, Darius, Saban talked about how this game is really going to define you and any other team. Have you heard him talk about that?
Yeah, I think Coach, he says that a lot because, you know, it's about halfway through the season right now. And, you know, guys are getting tired out there, just different things, and it's just going to establish our team and establish our identity.
So coming off like a game where your offense kind of struggled in the second half, you know, where do you see, you know, some improvement going into this game, South Carolina?
I mean, in a lot of areas. I mean, you just got to make improvements when that happens. You know, they didn't stop us in the second half. We stopped ourselves, and a lot of the mistakes that we made were kind of uncharacteristic of our team, and you know, there's no excuse for it. So if we play like that, you know, and against some other good opponents down the road, it's gonna not turn out the way we want. So we've had a good week of practice, and we're looking forward to South Carolina.
Coach mentioned something about Greg getting a little dinged up in his first half last week. Did you notice anything? Was he any different later on in the game?
Not at all. He didn't say anything about that. And he, you know, if something's bothering him, he's not going to let anybody show it. He's not going to let anybody know he's down. So that's kind of the kind of that he is.
Why not let anybody know if you get hurt? Like, what's the harm in that?
I mean, if your opponent sees that you're down, it's kind of like smelling blood in the water. You know, they're going to sort of. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of the mentality that I think a lot of guys on our team take. If you know, so if somebody's hurt, you got to put the nail in the coffin. But he, you know, if Greg can walk and his arm is able to throw a football, he's going to be out there, you know, doing all he can to lead our team.
Well, just talk about how important it is to start better in this road game than you did against Arkansas.
That's very important. You know, we didn't start well versus Arkansas. Everybody knows that. That's well documented. But you know, South Carolina's coming off an off week. They got a great football team, and they're going to be excited to play us, especially coming off a loss for them. And they played us very tough last year. It's a real physical defense. Ellis Johnson, their defensive coordinator, is a great coordinator, and he always has those guys ready to go and in the right spots and all that. So we're going to have to, you know, bring our A game for these guys and really, you know, focus on the little things.
How does a game kind of become more physical than any other game? I mean, does it progress as time goes on? Like a big hit happens, or some trash talking in the trenches. What happens? Why was that game physical?
I really think the physicality of games kind of is how you approach it in practice that week and stuff. You know, it's not really, you don't have to have the momentum on your side to be a, you know, physical team. I think we're a physical team. I think some other teams in our conference, like South Carolina, are physical teams, and some teams are more, you know, speed teams and trying to disguise stuff and stuff like that. So we, you know, there's not really a point in the game that kind of makes something more physical. But South Carolina's a very physical team, and they got some athletes on defense, and they got a lot of those guys back this year that were there last year. So we're kind of acquainted with them a little bit, and you know, we know they're going to be fired up Saturday.
What is it about Robert Lester that makes him special, and what's he like from a teammate's perspective?
Robert's come a long way. He, you know, he was on the scout team his freshman year, and then you know, he always has a great attitude. He's been working really hard. I think everybody can see how great he's played. He's made some huge plays for us, and the interceptions came at a time that, you know, they were really needed. So he, a lot of credit goes to him and the way he's worked. He's never been discouraged at his spot in the depth chart, and he, you know, does everything right and does everything he's told. It's paying off for him.
Going back to what you just said about the physicality, kind of goes back to practice. Did you see a change in the defense last week during practices?
I would say a little bit. You know, coach is on it pretty hard of how they played in the first half against Arkansas, and you know, I think that's the way it needed to be, and they came with it, and they've come with it this week. You know, but I think that also goes with experience. With so many young guys out there, they're kind of learning what they need to do and stuff. I mean, as far as the offensive line starters last year, the three of us, we kind of took a couple games where we really got comfortable and in a groove of what was expected of us. So I think those guys that are new to seeing the field are really coming into their own and understanding, you know, what it's like. And you know, I expect them to continue to improve. And they've had a great week of practice, and they're making us a lot better out there.
And that's just Coach Saban said that this game will define Alabama more than any other team on your schedule. What do you think he meant by that?
I agree with that. I mean, we're going to their place. I don't think anybody on our roster has been there. I've heard it's very loud, and you know, coming off the off week and a loss, they're going to be fired up, and you know, they're not going to be making mistakes. They're going to be toned into that game plan, and they're going to have it all worked out early. So it, you know, but like he always says, and we always say when we come up here, it's about what we do, and that's it. We got to execute. We got to play our game and focus on the little things, and you know, hopefully it should take care of itself. But it's a big game, especially the timing of it and all that. It's, you know, they're a team that matches up pretty well with us because it's physical football, and that's what we play. So I think the more physical team, you know, will have the best chance of winning on Saturday.
A couple more. William, how's your foot coming along?
Foot's great. We got no problem with the foot.
Did you at any point this season?
No, sir. Not yet.
Let's talk about Greg's leadership in the huddle. When you get in the huddle, and maybe if the game's put away, if he might make any funny comments along the way. When the game's out of hand.
I said earlier in the summer, I forgot who asked me. They asked me if Greg's funny, and I said he's not, and I'm sticking to that. He's not very funny, but he is very smart. But on the field, he's all business, and there's no jokes with him. You know, when the game's over and we get in the locker room, he might lighten up a little bit. But on the field, no matter what the score is, if he's in the game, he's, you know, focused on doing what he's got to do to help us win.
Some of those screen passes, I know the first one was with Julio on Saturday, getting out there. How hard is it to get out there quick enough to get those blocks?
Well, it looked kind of hard. I'm glad I didn't face plant on that. I think I kind of took the wrong angle, and I tripped. I don't know if I tripped over James or somebody, but I was you know, pretty close to hitting the dirt there. But luckily, I stayed on my feet and was able to get a piece of one of their safeties. But it's tough, but that's something we practice, and our coach preaches that, you know, those are the type blocks that can spring long runs. Especially, you know, look at the Florida game last year. That screen pass, that was kind of a tone setter for the rest of that game. I think after that happened, so it. You know, but like I've always said, you know, we get out there and try to cover them up in our backs, make it look a lot easier and make us look a lot better than we really are. So when they get the ball in space, it's scary. They're really good.
One more. Or did you have a block on that screen play in Florida?
I did. Yes, I did.
One more.
Okay, we're done. Oh, you need one? No, go ahead.
I was just going back to, we've been hearing this almost since the end of last year about how physical and tough and everything that South Carolina is on defense. And Mark ran for 246 yards. And yet the offense, I guess, scored 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. Does that say something about them being good in the red zone? Or
I just think it says a lot about their team. You know, they came in with the right mindset that they, you know, they had to do what they had to do, and they did a good job of that. We were lucky to win that game last year. We didn't do much in the passing game. You know, we're lucky to have number 22 in a game like that to, you know, be able to get in the Wildcat at the end of the game like he did and get some yards. And I'll be honest with you, last year a lot of those yards that he got were credited to him, not us. You know, he carried a big load that game, and we're gonna need him to do that again this week, and we got to give him some more help this game than we did last year against these guys. So, but they're a physical team. They're a smart team. They execute, and they're in the right spots. And you know, the guy, obviously everybody knows who Coach Spurrier is, and I mentioned their defensive coordinator earlier. They're really well coached guys and have a lot of ability and, you know, very physical.
Thanks, William.
Thank you.
Thank you.